Man, there are games that hook you in such a way that when you finally realize it, hours and hours have gone by. These games literally steal your time. You tell yourself you're only going to play just a little, and before you know it, hours have passed. These are the 18 most addictive games that will consume hours of your life. 1. Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Starting off this list, we have a game that combines the best of two insanely addictive genres. Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Just by hearing the name, you already know your life is over. The core value here is the fusion between massive open-world exploration and the signature absurdity of the Yakuza series. Imagine all the narrative and emotional depth of the franchise, now mixed with a huge, fully customizable pirate ship system. The progression loop is insane. You'll be grinding to upgrade your ship, leveling up your turn-based RPG job system, and exploring a fully detailed archipelago. The real source of addiction is the sheer density of content. You start a main quest, but end up getting sidetracked managing a secret pirate hideout, competing in bizarre minigames, and bonding with a completely eccentric crew. This constant shift between narrative and mechanics is Ryuga Gotoku Studios' trademark. I personally became obsessed with the side quests. It's very similar to Infinite Wealth, and we're talking about hundreds of hours of satisfying progression, chaotic combat, and emotional investment. It's a phenomenal game in terms of longevity and pure content delivery. 2. DayZ. Next up, we have a game that is a pure, unadulterated time sink fueled by anxiety and player-driven narrative, DayZ. This game isn't a beautiful open world, it's a brutal, high-stakes survival simulation, where the biggest danger is usually other people. The core value is the unrelenting systemic survival. You spawn in with nothing, and the simple act of finding water, food, and a weapon is a massive multi-hour achievement. The risk versus reward loop is insane. You spend 5 hours gearing up, only to lose everything in 5 seconds to a perfectly placed sniper shot. That intensity is the addiction. The multiplayer engagement is the lasting hook. Every interaction with another player is a high-stakes, emergent encounter. Are they friendly? Are they going to kill you for your beans? That continuous, unpredictable drama is what keeps you logging in for just one more run. I personally lost an entire weekend just trying to meet up with one friend, only to both die of starvation miles from each other. DayZ is an essential experience because it delivers a unique, persistent world where your own story is written by your survival and paranoia. It's a game of unforgettable tension. 3. Atomfall. Let's talk about a title that consumes hours with its dark atmosphere and gripping mystery. Atomfall. Set in an alternate 1960s Britain after a nuclear disaster, the game is a huge and intriguing survival sandbox. The core mechanic gaining everyone's attention is the mix of intense survival with a deep conspiracy narrative. You navigate the quarantine zone in the Lake District, constantly facing radiation, strangely mutated people, and the British military. Resource gathering and item management are brutal and absolutely essential. The narrative hook is the blend of sci-fi mystery with chilling folk horror. Finding every note, solving every radio transmission puzzle, and uncovering the political conspiracy behind it all is what will keep players glued to the screen. I was really surprised by the visual design. That unique aesthetic of a decaying 1960s British countryside is the perfect setting for a terrifying open-world shooter. Atomfall is a true time sink because it offers a deep and challenging survival loop wrapped in a fascinating and unsettling story. 4. Assassin's Creed Origins.
Rounding out the first block, we have the game that completely redefined a major franchise, Assassin's Creed Origins. This game is a must-play for its massive scale, its beautiful historical recreation, and its brilliant RPG progression system. The core value is the setting, ancient Egypt. Ubisoft created one of the most stunning, detailed, and historically rich open worlds ever. The sheer size of the map and the ability to explore the pyramids and the Nile Delta is an immediate immersive hook. The addiction comes from the RPG loot and level system. The game immediately shifted the focus from simple stealth to action RPG combat with gear rarity and skill trees. You spend hours clearing fortresses and tombs just to find that one legendary bow or sword with better damage scaling. My personal experience with this was the sheer joy of sailing the Nile and exploring the hidden tombs. Origins is an essential time sink because it delivers a massive amount of meaningful content, a strong emotional narrative with Bayek, and a world you simply don't want to leave.
Strip him of his advantage.
Number 5, Baldur's Gate 3. Moving on, we have the game that completely redefined the term time sink for the modern RPG era, Baldur's Gate 3. This game is an absolute black hole of content, and the addiction comes from the sheer freedom and consequence it offers. The core value here is the unmatched player agency and narrative reactivity. Every tiny choice you make, every dice roll, and every interaction with an NPC or a companion genuinely impacts the world and the storyline. That level of systemic immersion is why you lose hundreds of hours. The combat system is turn-based Dungeons & Dragons 5e, which is complex, tactical, and incredibly rewarding. The build variety and the constant cycle of leveling up, recruiting new companions, and finding powerful loot is the classic RPG addiction loop perfected. I personally spent about 40 hours in the character creator in the first major city alone, just talking to people and experimenting with different moral paths. Baldur's Gate 3 is essential because it is a masterclass in narrative consequence and role-playing freedom, and it will absolutely devour your free time. 6. Fallout 4. Next up, we dive into the Commonwealth, a game that hooks you with its post-apocalyptic exploration and an addictive scavenging loop. Fallout 4. This game takes the classic Bethesda formula and adds a deep, time-consuming layer of resource management. The core value is the dense, chaotic open world. Every ruined building, every collapsed freeway, and every subway tunnel is packed with lore, enemy encounters, and valuable junk. The exploration loop is driven by the desire to find that next legendary weapon, or a hidden piece of lore. The addiction comes from the crafting and settlement system. You start clearing a few enemy camps, but then you realize you need every piece of duct tape and every desk fan to build your dream settlement. That base building progression can easily steal 100 hours before you even touch the main quest. I remember spending an entire week just trying to defend my messy settlement, Sanctuary Hills, from raiders. Fallout 4 is an essential time sink because it delivers a perfect blend of shooter action, exploration, and deep, player-driven systemic creativity.
7. The Elder Scrolls V: Skyrim. There is simply no escape from this one. The game that defines the term time thief, The Elder Scrolls V: Skyrim. If you haven't lost a piece of your soul to this game, you haven't truly gamed. The core value here is the unmatched freedom of discovery and organic progression. You start the game trying to escape a dragon, and 5 hours later, you've forgotten the main quest entirely because you saw a random cave icon on your compass. The world's systemic design constantly pulls you away from your goals. The progression loop is infinite. Whether you are leveling up your sneak by stabbing a sleeping NPC, perfecting your smithing by crafting iron daggers, or mastering your destruction magic, the game always rewards you. That constant feeling of growth is the addiction. I personally created about 5 different characters, each specialized in a completely different class build. SKYRIM is a must-play because it is the definitive example of an emergent narrative sandbox that gives you the tools to create literally any kind of fantasy life you want.
Number 8. No Man's Sky. Rounding out this block, we have the ultimate investment in procedural exploration and infinite potential, No Man's Sky. This game, through years of updates, has become a phenomenal sci-fi sandbox that will devour hundreds of hours. The core value is the sheer scale and infinite procedural generation. You can literally visit a different, unique planet every single day for the rest of your life. The exploration loop is driven by the desire to find rare resources, discover unique flora and fauna, and push further into the galaxy. The addiction comes from the deep crafting and management systems. You spend hours upgrading your exosuit, refining resources, customizing your freighter, and hunting for the perfect starship. That constant drive to increase your capabilities is the main time sink. My personal obsession was the base building. Creating massive, glass-domed biodomes on a desolate, beautiful planet was my therapy. No Man's Sky is essential because it delivers a massive, beautiful, and deeply satisfying sci-fi survival simulator that offers endless content.
Number 9, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Moving on, we have the gold standard for narrative immersion, and a game that should come with a time travel warning, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. This is a must-play that steals your life through pure, unparalleled quality. The core value here is that the game is packed with meaningful content. You start a simple contract to kill a beast, and 3 hours later you're deep in a heartbreaking family drama or a massive political conspiracy. The narrative density is why you can't stop playing. The addiction comes from the progression loop of improving Geralt. You're constantly hunting down monster parts for better Witcher gear, crafting new oils and potions, and spending hours perfecting your deck for Gwent. That feeling of constantly getting stronger and better prepared is huge. I personally spend entire sessions just exploring the breathtaking vistas of Skellige and playing cards in taverns. The Witcher 3 is essential because it sets the standard for mature storytelling and creating an open world where every side quest feels like a major commitment.
Resident Evil 2 Remake. Next up, we have a game that steals your time not through open-world freedom, but through relentless tension and puzzle mastery. Resident Evil 2 Remake is an addiction built on fear and efficiency. The core value is the unforgettable atmosphere and the perfectly tuned survival horror loop. The Raccoon City Police Department is a brilliant piece of level design that forces you to constantly backtrack, solve puzzles, and manage extremely scarce resources. That tension is the hook. The addiction comes from the mechanical mastery and replayability. You finish Leon's campaign and you immediately jump into Claire's B scenario, which changes enemy placement and the overall path. That drive to perfect your route, save every bullet, and master the A-B narrative system consumes hours. I personally spent dozens of hours just trying to get the S rank by beating the game in under 2 hours. RE2 Remake is a must-play because it's a brilliant, focused piece of survival system design that rewards planning, skill, and nerve.
11. Immortals Fenyx Rising. Let's talk about a game that sneaks up on you and steals your hours with pure, joyful exploration and clever puzzles, Immortals Fenyx Rising. This game got labeled a clone, but it delivers an incredibly addictive open-world adventure of its own. The core value is the density of meaningful content. The Greek mythology map is absolutely packed with vaults of Tartaros, which are essentially compact, physics-based puzzle dungeons. You clear one, get a reward, see another one nearby, and suddenly 4 hours have passed. The addiction comes from the fluid traversal and the puzzle-solving loop. Using your godly powers to fly across the map and manipulate massive objects to solve brain teasers is incredibly satisfying. The game constantly rewards curiosity. I personally got obsessed with finding all the liar challenges. Immortals is a must-play because it's a bright, funny, and surprisingly deep game that executes its systemic puzzle design flawlessly, making exploration and problem-solving a constant treat. 12. God of War Ragnarok. Rounding out this block, we have a game that consumes hours through epic narrative, emotional weight, and unparalleled combat satisfaction. God of War Ragnarok. This is a masterpiece that makes you feel every second you invest. The core value is the cinematic storytelling and the character progression loop. The main story is a massive emotional arc, but you spend countless hours exploring the 9 realms, doing side quests that are just as detailed and powerful as the main narrative. The combat system is the addiction. It's a heavy, brutal action RPG that constantly rewards mastering Kratos' numerous tools, the Leviathan Axe, the Blades of Chaos, and Atreus' abilities. You're always chasing that next runic attack or that perfect axe recall. I personally lost days just trying to beat the legendary Valkyries. The skill ceiling is incredibly high, and the payoff is huge. Ragnarok is essential because it's a masterclass in combining high-fidelity action with an emotional, vast world that continuously rewards the player.
In moments of crisis.
13. Hogwarts Legacy. Kicking off the final section is a game that consumed the lives of millions by tapping into pure nostalgia and open-world magic. Hogwarts Legacy. If you're a fan of the wizarding world, this is a dangerous time sink. The core value here is the unrivaled fidelity of the world. Exploring Hogwarts Castle and the surrounding Scottish Highlands is an addiction in itself. You spend hours simply flying around on your broomstick or getting lost solving puzzles in hidden classrooms. That sense of discovery is relentless. The addiction comes from the progression loop of mastering spells and classes. You're constantly hunting down ancient magic spots, catching fantastic beasts, and upgrading your gear through the Room of Requirement. That cycle of finding new abilities and getting stronger is perfectly tuned. I personally lost an entire week just focusing on the beast breeding and collecting system in the Vivarium. Hogwarts Legacy is essential because it delivers a massive, beautiful sandbox RPG that masterfully ties exploration to satisfying progression.
14. Days Gone. Next up, we have a game that steals your time through sheer intensity and resource management. Days Gone. This game is a truly underrated survival masterpiece that hooks you with its freaker hordes. The core value is the unrelenting systemic threat and the bike management loop. Your motorcycle is your lifeline, and you're always scavenging for fuel and upgrading parts to escape the massive, terrifying freaker hordes. The sight of 500 plus enemies rushing you is an unforgettable high-stakes addiction. The addiction comes from the risk versus reward of hunting these hordes. You spend hours planning, setting traps, and kiting them through choke points. That sense of accomplishment after successfully clearing a massive sawmill horde is why you keep coming back. I personally spent entire sessions just clearing out one massive sawmill horde. Days Gone is essential because it delivers a perfect blend of open-world survival, tight resource mechanics, and truly emergent gameplay based on impossible odds. 15. Metro Exodus. Let's move to a game that consumes hours through atmosphere, immersion, and brutal survival. Metro Exodus. This game's blend of linear narrative and large sandbox zones is the perfect recipe for losing track of time. The core value is the uncompromising survival simulation. You are constantly managing your gas mask filters, cleaning your customized weapons, and scavenging for resources to craft basic supplies. That constant tension and vulnerability are the hook. The addiction comes from the gunsmith system and the exploration loop. You're always clearing bandit camps or exploring irradiated zones to find that one specific site or stock upgrade for your Kalash. The satisfaction of maintaining your gear in a hostile world is huge. I personally loved exploring the vast, desolate Caspian Sea zone, dealing with the local factions, and navigating the brutal dust storms. Metro Exodus is a must-play because it's a brilliant piece of atmospheric survival FPS that delivers a profoundly immersive and unforgettable journey. 16. Horizon Forbidden West. If you want a game that steals your time through visual splendor, tactical combat, and dense exploration, Horizon Forbidden West is your addiction. Guerrilla Games delivered a massive upgrade on the original formula. The core value here is the unmatched visual fidelity and the dynamic machine combat. Every fight is a tactical puzzle, forcing you to use Aloy's focus scan to identify weak points and then craft elemental arrows and traps to strip armor plating. That tactical mastery loop is incredibly satisfying. The addiction comes from the sheer density of exploration. The map is massive, filled with gorgeous underwater sections, massive ruins, and new climbing mechanics that make traversal better than ever. You're constantly hunting new machines for their parts to upgrade your armor and weapons. I personally spent hours just trying to find and override all the new tall necks just to clear the fog of war. Forbidden West is essential because it is a masterclass in action RPG design that rewards preparation, skill, and environmental curiosity.
17. Red Dead Redemption 2. This game is the ultimate contender for consuming hours. Red Dead Redemption 2. This is not a game you play, it's a simulation you get lost in. And that high level of immersion is the biggest time thief of all. The core value is the unparalleled level of detail and systemic realism. Arthur Morgan's saga is massive, but the game demands you slow down. You lose time managing your camp, hunting for resources, cleaning your gun, and taking care of your horse. That slow burn immersion is the addiction. The narrative is a massive emotional arc, but the emergent encounters are what steal the hours. You set out for a mission, but stop to help a stranger, get into a saloon brawl, and end up hunting a legendary bear. The world constantly creates its own stories. I personally spent countless hours just sitting by a river fishing because the world is so convincing and meditative. RDR2 is a must-play because it's a definitive open-world masterpiece that delivers generational value in terms of content and emotional depth.
18. Death Stranding. And finally, we end this list with a game that sneaks up on you and steals your life with logistics and atmosphere. Death Stranding. Hideo Kojima created a unique strand game that is deceptively addictive. The core value here is the traversal puzzle and infrastructure loop. The game is about delivering packages across a fractured landscape, but the addiction comes from building structures, roads, zip lines, and bridges to help yourself and other players. That asynchronous multiplayer system is brilliant. The gameplay loop is focused on planning. You spend hours in the menus, customizing your loadout and plotting the perfect route across the hostile terrain. The satisfaction of completing a difficult delivery and seeing other players use your newly built highway is the ultimate reward. I personally became obsessed with building the massive highway across the whole map. Death Stranding is a must-play because it's a bold, artistic, and incredibly unique open-world progression system that proves even delivery simulators can be massively addictive.
So, there you have it, folks. Top 18 addictive games that will consume hours of your life. From the pure simulated survival of DayZ and Metro Exodus to the epic scale of RDR2 and Baldur's Gate 3, these are the games that demand your time. Which game on this list has stolen the most hours from you? And what addictive game did I miss? Let me know in the comments below.